Hello and welcome back as I am setting up for March and Ostara in my 2022 bullet journal. So continuing on in that same journal from Amazon, I'm continuing the theme that I did from last month where I looked for flowers that both corresponded with the meaning of that I drew from my tarot card for the month, and also at least somewhat seasonally appropriate. So this month's theme is about joy and abandoning self-consciousness. So the sort of exact phrase we have for this is abandon self-consciousness and leap into possibility. So for this, I went with the daffodils that you're seeing. Definitely used daffodils for March before, even pretty sure I used daffodils last spring actually, last March. But adding in with dandelion this time. So the daffodils, they often mean new beginnings. In the places I've lived, daffodils are normally one of the first flowers to appear. And then I'm using dandelions both in the blossom and in the mature seed head to think about embracing possibilities, sort of letting go like those seeds. And you may have noticed in that first cover page I was setting up there, I did include a frog because frogs also are very joyful for me, and I wanted to include one last month, but just didn't squeeze it in. So here I am working on my calendar setup. You can see I penciled in where the calendar is, and then I'm adding my decorations around it, again with a little frog in the bottom. I don't know what they're called, the little Japanese egg character. Anyway, the frog has poses like the little egg character often does, which makes me happy. So as you're noticing here, I am going through and inking in all of my decorations first. These are with the Tombow Mono Fineliner as well as Faber Castell Pitt Artist Pen, just in a variety of sizes using fineliners I have had for a while. It was a lot of fun thinking through, like on this page, what the daffodil looks like from a different angle to try to get that in, and just kind of working with that shading. And as you can see here, I am using a ton of colors. So I'm using several Ohuhu markers in yellow. I think I'm only using them for yellow there, as well as a artist Loft Waterbrush marker and a Faber Castell and a Tombow. So all of these pin numbers for pins that have numbers will be provided in the description below. Here you can see I'm doing my frog. I was using sort of green grays for him, and then adding in, trying to get some variety in my leaf color to set apart my daffodils and dandelions. And then when it came time for the dandelion heads, I used the gray with a little bit of a purple tone in it to get those. I am a little sad at how dark my frog turned out, but I still think he's cute. And here you can see I am lettering in March with a artist Loft Waterbrush pen and moving on. So like with that first page, to get my daffodils, I layer multiple colors to try to show a little more depth and get some visual variety in there. The dandelion actual flowers themselves I used in the darker yellow so they would be set apart from the daffodils. See, there's my little frog here. Keep him with the same color. I did have fun trying to make his little bumps on his back show up better. And pulling out my little stencil here to do the lines. You can see I messed up a little there with one of them, but overall really enjoyed the way this calendar page turned out, and the way everything kind of ties together for it. You can kind of see in the top left there I was able to add in some of the seeds floating away, and that's just really happy. Here I accidentally missed some recording of coloring, but you're getting to see the variation in the bottom. That will become the tracker page there. This will be my mental inventory and goals page. And honestly, like, as I'm looking back at it now, that was just so pretty with the green, and I feel like I probably could have done some varieties of daffodils with the white as well. But maybe I'll remember that for next year. Who knows? Or maybe I'll bring some daffodils into April once we start looking into April. You know, when I was looking at setting up for February and thinking about choosing joy, I had all these ideas on what that might look like in my life. And like so many things, that's not what my life looked like. So as I'm going into March and thinking about releasing self-consciousness and embracing possibilities, from where I am right now in my life, I think that's probably going to be involving a lot of grace for myself and not holding myself to the standard of what 100% looks like when I'm completely well and everything in my life is going right might look different than what I need to give in this season. So that's my little spiel about my thoughts here. I'm cutting out my tabs. Again, same as before, I have my beginning of month things, and then so that bright blue in there is for cover page, which is a higher level, and then the beginning of month tabs as well as the weekly tabs are all a layer deeper. I do like the way these two yellows turned out next to each other. In retrospect, I wish I had not used so many greens in the tabs. I mean, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but there's not quite as much color variation as I thought there would be for those first two greens. And since the green is a color I've been using for the monthly so far, I feel like using another shade of yellow could have been a really nice way to help set the month apart. But as it is now, I have the yellow at the beginning and the blue at the end, so it kind of helps it stand out a little. Oh yeah, and the darker yellow at the end. So as I went back in, I labeled the tops up there, and when I put in my things for my tabs, I actually misaligned them a little. It took a little while. You can see I'm testing pens, trying to find a white pen that would show up. I ended up just going with a silver because the white wasn't rich enough to cover it. And I'm writing in with my Faber Castell pen there. And that's what I was about to say, is I wish I had written it a little closer to the edge, because depending on where things are, sometimes you can't see the label. Apologize for the lighting changes here. I forgot to turn on a secondary lamp, so but here you can see on the right hand side I have space for my tarot tracker. Oh, and there's one of the lamps coming on. And on the left side there I am doing a habit tracker with the months as before, but in the first one I drew I actually miscounted and only gave myself 6 days a week, and believe me, I need all 7 days in the week. I do not, in this setup, go ahead and label things. Now I'm recording this voiceover on the 26th, but when I was doing this setup, it was actually more like the 20th. So definitely still need time to work on my monthly review and see what kind of needs to happen there. And here's our final flip through with my cover page and the monthly setup, the tracker spread, the monthly goals and mental inventory spread, and then space to go into my weeklies with my tabs along the side. Then to help me out here, you can't really see it, flip to that page to show you that I went ahead and cut for my monthly pages like you can see there. Thanks for joining me. I'm blessed to be.